Hello, hello, I am Caveman Jake, and that's the phone ringing. But you know what? It's perfect, because in this video, I'm going to try to be as awful as possible. I'm going to let things happen. I might say a lot, or, you know, there could be a dog barking even with the phone. Ocho, where's Daddy? Where's Daddy? Where is he? Yeah, that's your cue. Whatever, so maybe even that won't go right. Oh, now she's on it. Or, you know, I could be just like totally off screen talking to you guys. But I'm just gonna go with it, because I am aiming low today. I am creating space for myself. And to honor this poopy video, I have brought, ta-da! Now, you might be wondering, is this my poop? I don't know. What could it be? Could it be... I wonder. Maybe it's a worm farm. Maybe it's swamp water. Thank you, Ocho. That's enough. I love the sound of your bark, though. It's very sweet. Yes, I think you're sweet. Maybe it's a swamp water. Or could it be magical polyjuice potion? Oh, I don't know. But there's actually a purpose for me doing this. These are examples of creating space. So the first one I did was creating space for myself. I have this issue with trying to be perfect all the time. I have this grand vision for myself of achieving these amazing things, making this awesome video, and then it like never goes right, you know? So I paralyze myself and I never end up doing things. But hopefully, you know, now that I'm being gentle with myself and I'm allowing things to just be as they will be, and that I can be human, I'm creating space for myself. I like this attitudinal space, if you will. And that's, I think, the same kind of thing we can do with our kids too, is we create this space that's pressure-free for them to just be themselves and to be perfectly imperfect. I mean, look at me, how perfectly imperfect am I? Oh my! Second, I did this example of this awesome, whatever it may be. I'm not telling you. You're going to have to like subscribe to my email list or go to my website or something to find out. But I created space using that as like a prop. Because, well, for one, I didn't say, this is a so-and-so. And I also didn't ask you like, what do you think this is? But I kind of phrased it in a way that really left open this space for you to imagine. Let your little imagination dudes, this can be your imagination dude, you can go run wild, woo, and imagine things in this awesome creative space that we created. So, that's another way you can create space, is to create space with these pressure-free questions. So like I said, oh, I wonder what this could be. And that kind of invites you to start thinking about things, but doesn't necessarily put that pressure on the actually like, tell me what you think. It's there if you want it, and that's it. So there are two ways to create space. A third way might be to use silence. When we use silence and we just kind of shut up for a while, like our kids have this opportunity to voice whatever they're thinking. And then also part of that too is listening to your children, or your spouse, or to yourself for that matter. Maybe you're listening while you meditate. So that's the third way to create space. A fourth way to create space is a little bit more obvious. That would be creating physical space. So maybe you're feeling like, I gotta get out of this house, you know, and go for a walk. Creating space for yourself, awesome. Or maybe you feel like your child just needs that break to, you know, flap his hands or just kind of be by himself in a corner for a while. Like, not as like a timeout, but to have this space for himself. And to allow that too. That's what creating space means. At least in my opinion, yes. Now some people might find this idea counterintuitive in the way that it can be most effective to help your child learn and grow by not really doing anything, by just creating space. But I've found that, yeah, kids really do thrive and they grow and they can explore and they can like learn what they really love to do when they have their space to just be themselves. And you might think, like, how can they possibly learn if I'm not teaching them anything? And yeah, that's a valid point. But I mean, I think you look at different entrepreneurs out there, you look at yourselves and all that you've accomplished when you were just given that freedom to kind of be on your own and explore. And yes, I think William Blake, he was a painter and a poet. He said it pretty well. He said, what did he say? Oh, this will be my William Blake hat. The bird that is born for joy cannot sit in a cage and sing. That's William Blake, Romantic Age. Awesome guy. He said it well. It's just like, we need to give ourselves and our kids and the people around us the freedom to be themselves, to spread their little wings and fly. I'm going to move this so my freedom wings don't knock any poop over. Oh, that would be disgusting. Ugh. Speaking of William Blake, there's this book called My Name is Mina, and there's this passage that really reminds me of this whole concept of creating space. So I'll read that for you. Mina, by the way, is this cheeky, free-spirited girl who writes this novel. I mean, she didn't. It's a novel in her perspective, I guess. She's my favorite character of all the time. So she says, simple facts about children. Children have to be left alone sometimes. There's no need to be at them all the time. There's no need to keep watching them, checking them, cramming stuff into them, yanking stuff out of them. There's no need to keep on saying, learn this, learn that, do this, do that, answer this, answer that. Sometimes children must be left alone to be still and silent, and to do absolutely nothing. And she's absolutely right. Why are we so scared of nothingness? She asked. Good question. Why? Why are we so scared of nothingness? Here is a page of nothingness. Is it scary? Is it? Oh, let me show you a page of nothingness. Alright, if you ignore the writing at the bottom, there's a page of nothingness. Of course it is not. And then she has extraordinary activities at the end too. And so this extraordinary activity is, write an empty page. This is quite easy. Now, look closely at the emptiness. This is quite easy too, and quite delightful. Ah, Mina, gotta love her. Alright, so, let me share with you an example of creating space with a child. So, one of the things I do is I coach special sports basketball. And I have this awesome young girl on my team who, she was, let's see, we were watching this other game together and the team was wearing these yellow shirts with these red shorts, and she comes up to me and she says, hey Coach Jake, doesn't that team remind you of McDonald's? I'm like, oh yeah, it does, with the yellow and the red shorts like that. And what did I say? I said, oh, I wonder if they have like fancy names. And she's like, ha, like Big Mac, or I'm like, yeah, or small fry, or maybe it's the dollar menu lineup, and and she thought that was funny. And so then we started talking about all these, you know, McDonald's menu items, and oh look, there's a big a Big Mac over there, and oh, that must be the value menu line up there, and just having a really fun time with this. And I guess from that example I want to point out, like I created space by listening to her. Like there's a lot of stuff going on. I got kids talking to me all the time, and everybody, they want attention. So just creating that space to listen to them and hear what they're thinking. And then I kind of, I went with it, and I created space like, oh, I wonder, what that person would be called there, and give her the opportunity to chime in, whatever McDonald's menu items she's thinking about. So that was a lot of fun. Then, one more example for you from my own life. You may not know this about me, but I earned a degree in mathematics while I was in college. Now, I went into mathematics because I had this idea that I wanted to be an actuary. Why, you might ask? Well, I was a really big fan of Harry Potter. So, I thought actuary sounded kind of close to Auror, which Aurors, as you may know, are wizards who fight other dark wizards. They're pretty awesome. And I thought, oh yeah, I could be this actuary, and I could wear my hat, and I could fight dark wizards with mathematics, I could just punch in my calculator here and be like, Calcify! And yeah, totally be living the dream, fighting dark wizards with math. But I was devastated to learn in my senior year of college that I probably would not be fighting dark wizards with mathematics by being an actuary, but probably sitting in an office or a cubicle maybe from 9 to 5, maybe even wearing a tie. But luckily I turned from that path a long time ago. But I'm getting to the point here. I spent like 4 years in these kind of dull and boring math classes. I got a lot of sleep, but it really wasn't that thrilling for me. But there was one project that just shined from all the other projects of math class, and that was in probability and statistics, in which we got to create our own project and study whatever we wanted. So, I loved marathon running and running long distances, so I decided to do a study on the optimal running pace that you could go to not get tired, basically. So I was measuring, people on a treadmill and their heart rate monitor, and how many beats per minute they're doing at what pace, and it was so much fun because I got to do what I loved, and I kind of brought mathematics into it too. So, that was a way that my professor created space for us to explore what we really were passionate about, but then also, work towards this goal of learning how to do statistics. Next. I'm almost done. I know. Don't be sad. I'm gonna go soon. But I have some action steps for you to take with you. 2 things. First thing, yourself. I want you to practice, if you want to, if it feels right, to practice creating space for yourself. So this might mean creating physical space, like I mentioned, like going for a walk, or maybe you're just you're listening to yourself, and maybe you do meditation, or go sit in a nice cave somewhere, or a dark closet is just kind of cool. Just sit in the dark and listen and allow whatever comes up and be with that. Or, you can do other things like, I guess asking yourself questions like, oh, what do I want to do today? And kind of just being open to whatever you're thinking about. Maybe trusting your intuition there. Or if you're like me, and you have a problem with perfectionism, and you have maybe all these things on your to-do list that you've been really wanting to do, but you kind of keep putting it off because you're afraid of not being able to live up to these high expectations you put on yourself, like, I encourage you, just like pick one thing, kind of like I did with this video, and aim low. As low as you can go. Just do it. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, try to, like, make it horrible, and that sometimes helps for me too. If you're worried about failure, try your best to fail, and see how it's probably not all that bad if you think about it. Second, with your child, I want you to practice creating space in whatever way feels right to you. So maybe this might just mean, bringing in a jar of brown poopy looking stuff and see what happens. Or maybe you just want to be more present with them and be open to listening to them and being comfortable with that silence. Or you could try those questions too, like the pressure-free questions of, I wonder what I could make for dinner tonight. McDonald's, probably. No. So yeah, just practice that, creating space for yourself, for your child, and when you do this with your child, just as a little, like, heads up here, just be prepared to have your mind, like, totally blown. Because I bet your kids are going to really surprise you by showing you what they can do, what they love to do, and just the extraordinary beings that they are. So, now, go... Oh, let me get my little guy.